And the wisdom from this retiree is the cost of expertise is always less than the cost of mistakes. The next one was a retiree who told me about her friend who had put all of his money in a simple portfolio and bragged about how well he was doing. So she did the same thing. But what she didn't realize was that her friend was completely different than her. His situation was totally different. He had a pension. She didn't. He was single and she was married. He was healthy. She had a few health issues from previous period. And then his risk tolerance was different and his goals were different too. The strategy that worked great for her friend didn't work as great for her just because there were two different people. And she learned this the hard way. What works for your friend might not always work for you. So the wisdom here is just your retirement plan should just be as unique as you are. Don't get distracted when people are talking about this investment or that or what they did with retirement. Focus on your lane and your plan. The next one is from a former executive, now in his late 70s, who had his finances perfectly planned and every dollar accounted for, but he never planned what he was going to do with his time before he retired. And he's one of those who, 5, 6, 7 months into retirement, he was not happy anymore. And he went from having every hour structured at work to having no structure at all, and from having a clear purpose and goals to having no purpose and goals. And then from feeling like he was needed at work to feeling kind of irrelevant. And he fell into what is common, which is the retirement depression, stage 2 of the 5 stages of retirement. But his wife was worried about him, and he was worried about himself. But his story has a happy ending. He worked through it. He got help. He figured out what his new purpose was, what his new identity was. And now at 78, he tells me that retirement is the best phase of his life. And his advice was, don't just retire from something, retire to something. Plan for your purpose, not just your portfolio. The next one it comes from multiple people who shared the same thing. They were the ones who were scared of losing money when they retired at 65. So they moved a lot into CDs and bonds and cash because it felt safe. And there was so much happening in the world at the time that they just wanted to make sure that it would all blow over and get back to normal before they did anything with their investments. But over 10, 15, 20 years, inflation hurt them in a big way. What cost them $100 when they retire was now costing them $150 or more. And their safe strategy, it felt like it was making them poorer every day because inflation was eating away at their purchasing power. And they were so focused on not losing money, they forgot about not losing that purchasing power. So the wisdom from them is in retirement, you've got 2 risks. There's market risk, what we're used to, and then there's longevity risk too. That's the inflation side of things. So getting too conservative too early can eliminate one, but it will amplify the other risk. The next one is, it comes from a couple where the wife had shared how before retirement, they never talked about what they really wanted in retirement. They had a financial plan and it was good, but all the other stuff they didn't talk about because she wanted to travel a lot and he wanted to stay home and be a homebody and do the garden and just have local friends. She wanted to be generous with the kids, and he was a little bit more wanting to preserve every penny, at least the first years of retirement. And they spent quite a few years arguing about money and prioritizing it. And it was awful. They actually didn't need to. They had a lot of options. Finally, they sat down and really talked about the values and kind of the vision, what matters the most to each of them. And then they found common ground and they found compromises. And those conversations really helped their marriage in such a big way and helped their retirement too. So the wisdom is financial planning without life planning is just math. And math alone, that's not going to create happiness. So you got to have the life and the math working together. And that's actually what a good retirement planner does. It's the money side and then the life side. There's an intersection of the two, and that person works right in the middle and helps clients in that way. So the thing to remember is that the decisions in your 60s can really determine how the rest of your retirement plays out. And your 80-year-old self is really counting on those decisions that you make today.